Goat Days, Aadujeevitham. Story begins with the panoramic shot of a mountain range as we hear the sounds of goats and birds in the background. Narrator: some people find peace and solitude in the mountains. They seek refuge from the chaos of the world and seek solace in the tranquility that nature offers. For one man, the mountains provided more than just solace. They gave him a new lease on life. Our story begins in the mountains of Saudi Arabia, where a man named Najeeb finds himself at a crossroads. Scene 1: Najeeb's struggle. We see Najeeb sitting in a dingy room, surrounded by a group of men. He looks disoriented, lost and afraid. One of the men speaks up: "Najeeb, you have no choice. You owe us money and we expect you to pay it back." Najeeb nods his head slowly, desperately searching for a way out of the mess he's found himself in. In a voiceover, we hear him say, "I had made some poor decisions in my life. I owed a lot of money to some bad people, and I had no way to pay them back." Scene 2: Najeeb's transformation. The next scene takes us to Najeeb on a truck, making his way to a remote location, to work as a goat herder. We see the barren mountains and Najeeb looks at them with a mix of awe and trepidation. He begins his new job as a goat herder, a job that soon becomes his lifeline. We see him tending to goats, milking them, and trekking across the hills to find them. He learns to survive in nature, with minimal resources. Najeeb's voiceover says, "The mountains were unforgiving. But they also gave me something I hadn't had in a long time, a sense of purpose." Scene 3: The turning point. Najeeb's life takes an unexpected turn when he finds one of the goats in his care injured. He finds himself going to great lengths to save the goat, even risking his own life. It is in this moment that Najeeb understands the true depth of his bond with the goats. He not only saves the goat's life but also feels redeemed in his own. Najeeb's voiceover says, "I realized that I had been given a second chance, a chance to put my life back together, and that the goats had been my guide." Scene 4: Najeeb's redemption. The final scene shows Najeeb returning to the town where he had left a life of debts and despair behind. He pays off his debts and makes amends with the people he had wronged. We see him living a simple life, tending to his goats, and living in the moment. He has found a sense of peace and contentment that he had never known before. Najeeb's voiceover says, "In the mountains, I found redemption, I found a sense of purpose, and I found myself." A wide shot of Najeeb standing on the mountaintop, surrounded by his goats, looking out at the sunset. In the end, it is in the most unexpected places where we find ourselves. And for Najeeb, it was in the company of goats in the mountains that he found his way back to life. A life that was simple, yet fulfilling. A life that was his own. Aadujeevitham's story ends here. For more stories, subscribe our channel.